Alright, hey guys, welcome to another Zedd tutorial. This time I'm going to be doing Zedd's Follow You Down, the intro synthesizer as well as the chorus lead. Got a few requests for this. Okay, so unlike last time, I'm not going to go through step by step how to build each synth because that's just going to take way too long. Instead, I'm just going to go through and show you all the settings so you'll be able to build the synth yourself anyways. Alright, so we're going to start with the intro. It's going to sound something like this. Alright, so I manually controlled the filter cutoff for that, but you can easily automate that. Oh, and I forgot, we're doing this inside FL Studio 11, and we'll only be using the Silent 1 synthesizer. Alright, so I already have the chord progression loaded into the pattern here. Yeah, and that's what you just heard. So you want to load one Silent 1 synthesizer instance, and make sure you go to menu and hit init preset. That'll reset everything, so it'll be easier to put in the settings. Alright, so without further ado, I will go into the settings themselves. Make sure you are on part A. You want 4 voices for both of them, saw wave for both of them as well, no inversion or retrig for either of them, and fine tuning will be 0 for both of them. Max volume, no phase, 3.43 detune for both of them, just play around with it. Max stereo at 10 for both of them, and we want a little panning for each of them, but in the opposite direction. So this one, oscillator A1 is going to have negative 3.24, this one is going to have 3.24. Alright, so, oh yeah, and the amplitude envelope, your ADSR settings, 0 attack, decay put it at 3.79, sustain is 5.29, and release is 3.79. If I'm going too fast, just pause the video, you can still see the settings. Alright, so that's this row for part A. Let's quickly go over to part B. 8 voices for both of them, still the saw wave, but we want inversion for both of them as well. No retrig, fine tuning at 0. As usual, max volume for both, no phase for both. Detune is going to be 2.57 for both of them as well. Max stereo, and keep the panning centered for both of these. ADSR settings for part B, 0 attack, 5.17 decay, 4.48 sustain, and release is going to be 5.62. Alright, go back to part A. Let's get our filter set up. Alright, so I have it on the 12 decibel mode, and you want the low pass filter. That's this symbol right here. It's going to be this by default. Drag it up once, you got low pass. Input select, it's also by dragging, put it on AB. And you want the cutoff to be at around 176.71 Hertz. No resonance, and you want some drive, put at like 1.9 or something. And let's go to part B. It's going to have a different filter. Low pass for this as well, so dragging up you get low pass. Put it on 24 decibel for this one, and input select is only B. Cutoff for this will be at 29.1 Hertz. No resonance, and drive is 1.62. Alright, let's go back to part A. Filter control is actually the same for both parts. As you can see, it doesn't really change. The cutoff is what gives it its characteristic filtered sound. It's what you hear right here. Just leave it at whatever value. You're going to be automating it inside your song anyways. We don't want any resonance. Turn warm drive on though, and key tracking put at 1.62, around that. Alright, we've gone through the oscillators, ADSR, filters. Keep your master mixer settings at default. I don't see a problem with it. Alright, let's go down to the modulation envelopes. It's the same for both of them, doesn't matter which part. Alright, so mod envelope 1, we want the cutoff. You want to choose cutoff AB. And to actually turn on this thing to be modulated, you want to drag this up to 4.19. It defaults at 0, right? Alright, no attack, decay is 2.87, that's about right, and no sustain, and no release, easy. And then just to kind of get more of that Zedd sound to the pluck sound, I have one more layer. It's basically the same thing of what I did here, but I have a little less decay. So again, choose cutoff AB. No. And then you want this at 3.24 by dragging it up, which will turn it to the right. 0 attack, 0 sustain, 0 release, and decay is a little lower at 1.84. Alright, last but not least, we want to go into the effects. So we don't need any of these things. First of all, turn on your EQ and keep it at 1 pole for the mode. For bass, I have it at 8.07 dB. The bass frequency is around the default, which is 110 Hz. Treble, I boosted it just a bit to 8.5 dB, and the frequency is going to be 4124.29 Hz. Alright, next up, decay. I don't remember what settings are default or not, so I'll just go through all of them. Delay, left and right is going to be a 1/4, so that's quarter of a note later you'll hear the decay. So when I stop, you can kind of hear the bouncing decay stuff. Alright, the low cut is going to be 3.23, high cut is 21,120 Hz. No smear, max spread at 100%. Feedback, you can play with this, 47.14% sounds about right. The width, I put it dead middle, and I made it just a little bit wet, 14.76%. Alright, that's it. That is what I have, or what I made for the intro of Follow You Down, and that's what I think sounds pretty good. And I already have it inside the main playlist here, and if you just add some percussion, it'll sound something like this. Alright, that's fun and all, but we want to create that really rich but clean lead you hear in the chorus as well, and that's what I'm going to do next. The way I achieve that sound, or try to achieve it, is I still keep this synth. Oh shoot. Okay, so that's what this synth sounds at maximum, at maximum cutoff, and it's kind of good, but it's not exactly the chorus. It's missing some punch, I guess. So I'll keep this inside the chorus, but I'll add one more synth to it to really round it out. Alright, that's what the main chorus lead is going to sound like. You can tell it's a lot richer, it has a lot more bass undertones, all that good stuff. And then this, the extra synth I added, I just call it Trans-Stab. The extra synth I added to progressive alone sounds like this. You can hear it sounds a lot lower in frequency, and that's because I wanted it to fill the frequencies that progressive doesn't really cover. So together they really synergize and sounds great, in my opinion. Alright, so how do you make this synthesizer? Again, load another instance of Synth 1 here. Go to menu, hit init preset. and then everything will be reset. Alright, so part A, we're going to go through everything again. We want 4 voices for both, but this time put a square wave, just by dragging up and down for both of them. No inversion or retrace for either one of them, fine tuning 0. Max volume, I actually had the phases a little off for each of them. Phase for A1 is going to be 130.29 degrees, and this one is going to be at 236.57. I wanted them to bounce out a little bit on each side. Alright, detune is 3.33 for, what the heck? Yeah, 3.33 for both of them. That's what it should be. There you go. Max, oh shoot. Oh my god. I think it was max stereo. Not sure. Or a little bit less. Just put it at 8.86, I think. Whatever. Okay, and you're gonna have spread out panning as well. Put A1 at negative 4.19 and this one's at 4.19. Alright, and your ADSR settings, no attack, decay is gonna be 4.14, and sustain is pretty much maxed out at 10. Release is gonna be 4.25. And basically what sustain is that if you just hold a note, it will stay at max volume for as long as you hold it. Yeah, okay, let's go to part B. We're gonna only use B1 here. Gonna put it at 4 voices, and it's gonna be a saw. And note that we are actually gonna decrease it by 1 octave, so that's where all those bass sounds come from. Max volume, phase is at 104.57 degrees. That's phase shift, by the way. Detune is 3.1. And stereo is max. You want pan to be centered. Alright, and 0 voices here, we're not using that, forget about that. ADSR settings, 0 attack, 4.2 decay, excuse me, 10 sustain, and release 5.56. Let's jump back to part A real quick. Cover filter A. Drag up to get the low pass again right. 24 decibels setting. Input is going to be AB. Cutoff is going to be at the center around 146 hertz. No resonance, and drive is going to be 1.48. And if for whatever reason you don't see these values here when you click it, just try to match the knob location from what you see here. Alright, so for filter B, go over to part B. Low pass filter, 24 decibel setting. Input is going to be B. Cutoff is a little higher at 312.34 hertz. No resonance and no drive either. Cool. Alright, so filter control again. You're going to modulate the cutoff inside your actual song. This is what it does, you already know. Yeah, you're not really going to use the lower cutoff settings for this synth in particular, because most of the time when you hear the chorus lead for this song, it's at max anyway, so whatever. No resonance, warm drive on of course, and key track it's going to be 2.57. Alright, let's move down to these things again. Alright, so your mod envelope 1, you're going to select cut off AB again to get the pluck effect. Turn it up to 3.62, and for your ADSR for this, no attack, decay is at 2.3, no sustain, and max release at 10. And here we're going to do a little pitch bending. It's very subtle, but it's going to be there nevertheless. Choose pitch B, and then we're going to turn up the modulation just a bit to 1.52. 0 attack, 0 sustain, 0 release, and just tad bit 0.92 decay. It just bends the pitch of the note slightly into place the moment the note hits each time. It's subtle, but yeah, whatever. And then we're also going to have 2 LFOs for this synth. They're going to be subtle, but they kind of build on the effect. So LFO 1, you want it to be a sine wave. It's this squiggle right here. Set it to free, so it sounds more random. Rate, we're going to put it at 0.5 hertz. Gain is 0. oh wait, yeah, gain is 0, offset 0, and you're gonna be modulating pitch A, so select that from here and put it at 0.19, just barely to the right. Alright, and we're also gonna use LFO2. Make sure it's on free and sine. The rate is gonna be 1.82 hertz. Gain is 0, and the offset is almost max at 9.52. Gonna be selecting pan B, and the modulation strength is 3.33. What this is gonna do is it's gonna have part B, this sound, kind of like a wiggle back and forth, left to right ear, kind of like that. And I forgot to cover the master mixer. Mix A, I moved it slightly up to 5.17. Mix B is moved up even less to 5.06, and main volume I boosted a bit to 7.47. Last but not least, your effects. I have EQ on and keep it at 1 pole setting. Bass is at 8.64 dB. Bass frequency 145 Hertz. Treble 11.71 dB, and the frequency is going to be at 1415.48 Hertz. Alright, that should be the oh shoot, I forgot compression. Turn on the compressor for this as well. And oh shoot, I forgot the compression. Okay, whatever. Turn on the compressor for this one and put in these settings. Ratio is going to be minimum all the way down. Threshold is -3.29 dB. Attack is 29.38 milliseconds, and release is going to be 150.7 milliseconds. And sorry, I forgot to detail the compressor on the first synth as well. Compression ratio is going to be 3.88 to 1. Threshold is -15 dB. Attack is 15 milliseconds, and release is 150 milliseconds. Sorry about that. Alright, that should be everything for all the settings for both of the synthesizers. And one more thing to check is that your polyphony should be, just put it all the way up. Basically what it means is that it's how many notes you can have playing at the same time. If your polyphony is too low, like at 1, at like 1, then if I play 2 notes at the same time here, you'll hear that you can only hear one of them at once, which is stupid. So if I put the polyphony to 2, you hear both of them, right? So just have it high enough, whatever. Alright, so I went through how to make the intro synth as well as the the chorus lead as well. So when you kind of assemble stuff together, I'll show you what it sounds like. Let me see. And I just added a little bass in the background, just cause. Oh, I never actually used it. Oh shoot, I forgot one thing. Just for the sake of trying to recreate the track more, I added some simple side chaining, ducking to the sound. So every time like you hear the kick, the volume of the leads will kind of drop a bit. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, and a few things out of curiosity. I have the intro synth bound on channel 1, and I just added some simple compression to it. For the master channel, I have simple Maximus compressor. Yeah, I just used one of the presets. I think it's like Clear Master or something. Just makes it sound better. I don't remember what that is. For progressive, the others, I just have a simple compressor on. You can see the settings here. Did a little EQ, just gave it a little high-end boost, and did a little stereo enhancement as well. You can see the settings here. And for the sidechaining, really simple. Just pull up gross beat, select sidechain, and then basically build this shape. And then for the second synth that I use in conjunction with the first one to create the chorus, that sound, I also I put a Maximus compressor on here. I think I chose Clear Master or something. It's fine. And for the EQ, I just gave it a little cutoff at the really low frequencies, tiny boost at around 75 Hz, and a little drop around 191, just to give the kick some room. I don't really remember what preset I used for this, but you can see the settings here. And I did the same side chaining for this as well. Alright, so if you have any questions or anything, just leave it down in the comments below. And I don't really know if I'm going to do any more tutorials, but yeah, check out my music. Thanks a lot.